What's up, everybody? Alex here from Columbus, and you might be asking yourself, why is this stupid fat man in front of his blinds chugging a beer to start a video? The answer to that is far less appealing than you might think. The answer is that I'm talking about jazz today, and talking about jazz makes me really, really nervous. Plus, it's beer and vinyl, so we drink the beer. But we're talking jazz today, and talking jazz makes me nervous. Why? Because I don't know a lot about jazz. I completely label myself as a jazz sort of, Padawan, if you will. A neophyte, someone who does not know a lot. I have been listening / collecting jazz for maybe 3 or 4 years now, and I know what I like, and it is a constant journey of discovery and everything else. And so I recognize that there are people who know an absurd amount more about jazz than I do, and they're all over YouTube, and I encourage you to go and hear them talk. I mean, they're amazing, right? Like Jazz Bums, outstanding. My favorite jazz channel probably is WCB Jazz, or What Can Brown Jazz. There's just a lot of great channels out there that are a plethora and wealth of knowledge and experience. But I also feel like, for me and my kind of mediocre standard, there might be some people out there that watch this video that don't know very much about jazz, or you might know as much as me, or a little bit more, or a little bit less. And I feel that one of the challenges with jazz is that as a genre, it's very gatekeep centric. And what I mean by that is it feels like you either need to know what you're talking about or you're not welcome. It sometimes cannot be a friendly place for learning or getting, exposed to different things. It feels like it's a very kind of snobby thing. It's much like the vinyl community, actually. So the point of this video is I want to talk about some reissues that are happening this year that are my favorite. Now, before I jump into the records I'm going to talk about, I will say in 2025, this is literally the best time for anybody to get into collecting jazz on vinyl. I mean, it is absolutely absurd how many amazing labels and titles are out there, things being reissued. There's a lot of contemporary stuff, both in the label and in just the fashion of the music today. Audiophile stuff, things at various price points. You can get an amazing audiophile, incredible sounding record for, $25, and sometimes they'll pop up on Amazon for $15. You can get stuff with better, amazing packaging for $30 or $35. You can get avant-garde stuff. You can get free jazz stuff. You can get all the bops, pre-bops, post-bops, hard bops, bop-its, all the stuff that you want. In 2025, if you want to get into jazz, you can look anywhere, swing a dead cat, and hit about 6 titles. But also that presents a challenge because it can be very overwhelming. There are so many options out there, so many things to choose from, and it's just decision paralysis. It is, I don't know what to do, therefore I'm going to do nothing. But this was a series that I was looking forward to for a long time, and I want to talk about them and give my sort of, non-influencer take on them, and hope you all like it too. So if you're a huge jazz fan, I just want to apologize up front, but that's why I chugged the beer, I guess. I don't know. It's Saturday. Let me live. So today, after all that shitty intro, I want to talk about the Strata-East label, a label that was created by Charles Tolliver and Stanley Cowell back in 1971 as sort of a label focused on allowing artists, and specifically black artists, to express themselves however they wanted to, without a label telling them what to do, or without the fear of commercialism or all those different things. And so it really became a home, not unlike, something like Black Jazz Records, but a home for people to say, you know what, I'm just going to do whatever I want, and it's going to be fucking great, and I'm not going to have a label telling me that it's not good enough or whatever. And so Stanley Cowell and Charles Tolliver started that label back in 1971, released a number of records on that label that have since become really valuable and really expensive. And one of the cool sort of big news topics over the last year was that Ched Tolliver, Charles Tolliver's son, is now overseeing the label. And he has worked with Mac Avenue as well as Kevin Gray to reissue a number of Strata-East titles that I'm going to talk about today. So before we talk about these titles that have gotten released this year and why I love them so much, I actually want to start back at a Record Store Day title from last year. So this is Record Store Day 2024. It might have been Black Friday. It was Black Friday. Hype sticker is great. And that is Charles Tolliver Inc. Live at the Captain's Cabin, which I believe was in Edmonton, Canada. This was released on Reel to Reel Records, limited edition, numbered to 1,500, recorded in Edmonton at the Captain's Cabin, Alberta, Canada, June 24th, 1973. Music Inc., as you'll kind of see, Charles Tolliver Music Inc., that was essentially the name of Charles Tolliver's sort of band. So this specific record, the Live at the Captain's Cabin, features John Hicks, Clint Houston, and Cliff Barbaro. But this was my first kind of exposure to Charles Tolliver. Now, this is a pretty out there, burning, just absolute ripping live record. I mean, it is not too squeaky squonky. I think it is a great place of sort of that mid-level between, oh, this is good, okay, this is good, all the way into like, whoa, now they're getting into some stuff. It is a perfect middle ground there. It's a live record, great quality. I'm not sure. I think this had either like a Bernie Grundman cut or a Kevin Gray cut or a Matthew Luthen's cut or something like that. But it sounds pretty damn good, and it is just a ripping live record. So this was my first actual exposure to Charles Tolliver. And so this I kind of view as like Strata-East adjacent, because he obviously had just formed the label at that point. He was recording on the label. This, I don't know where this technically falls in like the label sort of side of things. Again, this was reel to reel on like maybe a Canadian label or something like that, reissued last year. But the point is this was my first experience with trumpeter Charles Tolliver, and he's absolutely ripping. And so then when I hear that there is this reissue sort of series happening for Strata-East, and they start mentioning Charles Tolliver and all these different people, I start getting really excited. Now, before I go any further, I am going to link an incredible interview that the Jazz Bums did with Ched Tolliver, Charles Tolliver's son, who now runs the label Strata-East, as well as Kevin Gray, who's obviously doing all the audiophile great stuff that he does with so many other titles and labels. So I will link that. That is an incredible interview, and obviously Jazz Bums are great. Like, if you want to know about jazz, watch the Jazz Bums. Don't watch me unless you just have nothing better to do. So that was my first exposure to it. And then at Record Store Day 2025 here just this past April, this was the number one on my want list because of Strata-East. They said, for Strata-East, the first reissue title that we're gonna do a Pharoah Sanders title that was recorded in 1969 and then released officially on Strata-East in 1973, called As If Ozam, which translates to My Gifts. So, Pharoah Sanders, if you know Pharoah Sanders, you kind of know what you're getting into. I mean, he is a forerunner of spiritual jazz, some squeak squonking. I mean, he is so far out there. But also there's like a lot of like backing vocals, some chanting. I think there's some female vocals on here. There's a little bit of everything. So what was interesting was that this might have gone up a little bit in value, right? I mean, if the retail on this was say $35 or $40, I think it probably sells on the secondary for now maybe around $75 or $80. They only pressed 1,500 of them, and it was a Record Store Day exclusive. And so I think it was one of those things where, okay, cool, like, good luck finding an original. This is going to be an audiophile cut, all this different stuff. But this was sort of the first, dive in to the Strata-East reissue series that we were going to get. A couple of things I want to point out. First of all, the packaging is absolutely amazing. And so for something like this, great gatefold, not unlike what you would get with, say, the Tone Poets from Blue Note, although I will say this feels, I could just be making shit up, this just feels a little bit heavier, but amazing packaging all around. And then what stuck out to me big time is the hype sticker. I mean, and you'll see, actually, this is the hype sticker style for all of these sort of records. So obviously it's a Record Store Day thing, so this one's a little bit different because the others weren't. But remastered audio transferred directly from the original analog tapes, mastered by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. Pressed on 180 gram vinyl at RTI, or Record Technology Inc. Liner notes by Harmony Holiday, plus never before seen photos, and recorded January 14th, 1969 in Englewood, New Jersey. And actually, Charles Tolliver with a quote on here talking a little bit about Pharoah Sanders and all that type of stuff. And so this was the first sort of taste, if you will, that we got of these Strata-East reissues this year. This was again released, I think, on 4/20 or whatever for Record Store Day back in April of 2025. But limited and an exclusive. So I think there was some confusion over, hey, if this is going to be a reissue series, are these going to be constantly in print? Do we know what is the, what's the viability, or the, how much are these going to be around? Is it like the Blue Note stuff that seemed to just kind of be always in print all the time? We didn't really know, but that one, the Pharoah Sanders sort of set out to say, this is the first one, it's Record Store Day, it's an exclusive, and let's see. Now, since then, I've picked up the other three that have been released. Now, this one to me is a perfect one to start with because it features both of the founders, Charles Tolliver and Stanley Cowell, who plays piano. Again, that's the Music Inc. That's just sort of Charles Tolliver's, name of his band, basically. And this is Live at Slugs, Volume 1 and 2. This is incredible. This is absolutely smoking. It's not quite as far out there as the Cabin Club stuff from Record Store Day of last year, but this is just a smoking live record. Amazing packaging. Hear that click? We love the click. Great gatefold, great packaging all around. Now, maybe my favorite of the releases, meaning the one that I've probably listened to the most, has been this record from, I think, 73 or 74 from Charles Rouse. 2 is 1. Yeah, 1974. This is a great fucking record, and especially a great sort of intro, I guess, to jazz, if that makes sense. This thing is funky, it's groovy. This is a super accessible, funky, soulful. I mean, it fits so perfectly for the time in 1973, 1974, but also that's when a lot of those like Blue Note characters started doing some other different stuff, but this sits so well. Again, maybe my favorite of the releases so far. See that gatefold, and yeah, just amazing. And so, for those three, you kind of got this cool mix of, a live record that just smokes, some Pharoah Sanders stuff that's a little bit out there, and then that Charlie Rouse that is just perfect kind of soul, funky jazz, amazing stuff. And then there's even, this is the fourth one here, and I see this getting shown a lot just because, the cover is amazing. But from the co-founder, Stanley Cowell, this is Musa Ancestral Stream, Stanley Cowell solo piano. So again, recorded back in 1974, and this is just Stanley solo at a piano. So no horns, no drums, none of that, just him doing solo piano stuff. And man, what a great, great cover that is. Incredible. Again, these are just so, the packaging here is just absolutely amazing. And so, yeah, I absolutely am loving these. More hype sticker there. And I guess kind of the point of this video is threefold, whatever. There's a lot of different points of it, just to kind of blab about it, because that's what we do on YouTube. But also, I'm very curious of what's next, right? That kind of came out hot with these 4 titles right off the bat, and I think we're kind of sitting and waiting and saying, okay, what's next? I also don't know what the availability is of these records. I think I see that, a handful of the kind of the big guns, if you will, might be sold out of them. I will give a shout out. I got mine from the Laser's Edge, Ken Golden. You can order them off his website at lasercd.com. He has vinyl, you can buy it there. That's where I bought them from because they were sold out at some of the other places. So I do not know, truthfully, and if this has been said somewhere else, please let me know, but I do not know what the availability, accessibility, printing, all that type of stuff looks like for these Strata-East titles. We knew for the Pharoah Sanders, just because it was a Record Store Day thing, they said it was 1,500, one and done. I'm curious for the rest of these and for what's around the corner. So yeah, just want to get on here, shoot my shot, talk a little bit of jazz as if I know what I'm talking about, and just talk about how much I'm loving these records. So if you're a jazz person, maybe considering being a jazz person, love history, all that type of stuff, then the Strata-East titles are definitely for you. Check them out, buy them, all those different things, listen to more jazz, and drink more beer, right? So, hey, appreciate you all watching and sticking with me through this, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now. Oh, this is good, okay, this is good.